In the heart of Vatican City, as dawn touched the ancient stones of St. Peter's Basilica, the world gathered in stillness. It was the day of the Papal Inauguration Mass, a sacred tradition that marks the formal beginning of a pontificate and the spiritual handover of the Fisherman's ring. Thousands stood in the square, heads turned toward the central balcony, where once popes have blessed nations, counseled kings, and called for peace. Today, from that very place, Pope Leo XIV began his journey, not as a ruler, but as a servant. From across the world, dignitaries had arrived, not just Catholics, but leaders from every faith and nation. Representing Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took his seat with other heads of state. They sat among kings, diplomats, and faith leaders. He emerged robed in simple white, the cross of Christ resting quietly on his chest. His pace was steady, his eyes contemplative. Behind him, a procession of cardinals, bishops, deacons, and servers, each bearing the dignity of centuries-old tradition. There were no crowns, no thrones, no scepters, just the symbols of service. The Mass was to begin. A reminder that the papacy does not belong to Rome alone, but to all corners of the earth. Scripture was proclaimed in multiple languages, a sign of the Church's reach, from the Amazon to the Arctic. Shepherd, who carries the lamb upon his neck. It is a reminder that leadership in the Church is not about power, but about burden, about carrying souls with compassion. Then came the ring of the Fisherman. This ring, modeled after St. Peter's role as a fisher of men, is worn by the Pope alone and will be destroyed upon his death. It is the seal of Peter and the mark of a man chosen not to rule, but to serve. With these emblems, Pope Leo XIV was now fully vested in the role of Supreme Pontiff. There was no applause, but only silence and prayer. Then came the homily. Pope Leo spoke not with fanfare, but with quiet strength. His voice steady, his message clear. He spoke of mercy, of peace, of unity in an age of division, of a church that must stand not above the world, but within it. And then the Eucharist. Bread and wine, consecrated, transformed, held aloft beneath the shadow of Bernini's altar. The body and blood of Christ, the Church at its best aspires to be, a place where all kneel at the same altar. As the Mass drew toward its close, thus a hush fell over the square. The moment had come for the new Pope to give his first blessing, Urbi et Orbi, to the city and to the world. He stepped forward, raising his hand over the gathered multitude. He prayed in Latin, invoking peace, healing, and forgiveness. For those watching from war zones, from refugee camps, from cities filled with violence or silence, this moment reached beyond language. As the bells of St. Peter's rang out once more, the voice of a new papacy began its echo across the earth. That history had unfolded before them. The Church, that vast and sometimes divided choir. African drums had not sounded, but Africa was present, not just in attendance, but in spirit, in dignity, in hope.